Fandom, welcome back. This is Chris, and we're here with Monica the Medium.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So, Monica, for those who don't know about your show, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I am a medium, which means that I can connect to those who've crossed over. I do this on and off TV because people are like, wait, is this your real life? Like, you know, are you an actress? I'm like, nope, I'm actually a medium. I talk to dead people. So the show, Monica the Medium, on Freeform, it follows my life and really kind of covers everything, you know, my personal life with roommates, dating, friends, family, college, because I'm also a college student. I'm 22 years old. And then also juggling all that with my gift, connecting to spirit on top of everything.
Fantastic.
It's a little crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but a lot of fun too.
So on the show, a lot of the time, it seems like you'll be in everyday situations and you'll get distracted by the presence of spirit.
Yeah.
What do you mean by spirit when you say that?
So spirit is just my plural tense for me to kind of acknowledge just spirit in general. Same way, instead of saying a person, you say people. I can say it like plural and singular. So sometimes when I talk about spirit, it might be one particular spirit, or it could just be like in general, like those that are crossed over in the spirit world.
Got it.
Yeah.
So before you were a medium, how did you believe in mediumship, or did it take kind of being one to believe in it?
Absolutely. I always say, if I wasn't the one doing this every single day, day after day, for thousands of readings, for years, you know, at this point, I would be very skeptical, and I'm a skeptical person in nature. So it's funny that when I come across other mediums and they're like, "Will you refer me to your clients?" Like, I would love to, but I'm a skeptic about with everybody. Like, I have to then like see you read for like firsthand and watch you and kind of see what your gift is about before I recommend. So I'm very picky and I'm very skeptical when it comes to all of this. And before I accepted my own gift, I was open to all of this, but at least for me, like for me having this ability, I was completely skeptical. And I thought, well, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I have a brain tumor, maybe this is just a lucky guess, it's a coincidence. I came up with every other reason of what it could be, other than it actually being spirit, until I just, you know, after doing this time and time again, it wasn't just about giving the validation to the clients through the messages, but it was also about giving myself validation. I received the validation, being like, okay, wait, this is for real. There's no doubt. I'm connecting to spirit. They're coming through and communicating with me.
As far as what you see when you're giving a reading, it seems like sometimes on the show it comes in symbols, and then sometimes it seems to come in sound bites. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's a mixture depending on the spirit. Every spirit communicates differently, but for the most part, I will hear, feel, see, sense, and then sometimes I'll just know things, which I call like spirit vomit, because it'll just come out of my mouth. I'm like, where did that even come from? And so it's really a combination of all these things that are happening at once that I then piece together in order to interpret the message for the client. In addition, the signs and symbols is part of my spirit dictionary, so things that they show me that I already have a meaning for. It just kind of builds over the years and through experience. So for example, I might be sitting down with somebody and I'll start to feel spirit, and I might get my symbol for grandfather energy, and they can show me like what side of the family. So I might get the feeling, okay, this is his mom's dad, and then he might be coming through, and all of a sudden I might not be able to catch my breath. And for me, because I also physically feel emotion, so I see, hear, feel, including emotional stuff, but also physical sensations. So I might start to feel like I can't breathe, and then he shows me my symbol for smoking. It's like, so it's all these things happening at the same time. I might hear then the name Frank, and I'm like, okay, so your grandfather Frank from mom's dad, he's coming through, he's showing me he was a smoker, and I feel like he would have passed with the lungs, so I can't breathe, and he's showing me he was sick. He's now telling me that he's sick, and then I start hearing words. So it's all that. So everything's happening so quickly, and I kind of have an ongoing conversation with spirit at the same time. So they're communicating the information, but I'm also having a back and forth conversation. It's like all happening so fast. So I kind of go through a process. They start to come through, then I'll be like, all right, cool, how'd you die? And then it's like, okay, how many kids do you have? Like, so I kind of am asking them questions too as I connect. It's pretty cool.
And that is, it seems, at least a good portion of the reading is usually trying to clarify who it is that you're speaking to. Is that more for your validation, to make sure that it's the right voice coming through?
Well, for me, I can clarify pretty quickly who's coming through and how they're connected to you. Like that part's pretty easy, like at least for me. The reason I keep going with it as far as bringing through even more validation, as far as like how they died, what they looked like, how old, like all these other details, is so, you know, the person that I'm giving this reading to has no doubt in their mind, yeah, that's my grandfather, like that's my mom. And then once they can know and trust that this is their loved one, then we can get to the portion of the reading which is about what do they have to tell you? What's really the takeaway for you to have this experience? What do they want you to know? What's the healing message that they have for you, or the guidance and love? And then, you know, they can really, you know, soak that all in and feel good about it, knowing because of the beginning part of the reading, okay, yeah, that's my person. You
Right.
know? So.
Why do you think people default to not believing?
Well, actually, I think you'd be surprised how many people, I think more and more people are very much open to it. I think that obviously there's still always going to be the people who default to like, this isn't real, and
Sure.
I'm skeptical, or I don't believe in this. But I think as a society, we're actually kind of going through a spiritual awakening, if you will. And I think more and more people are realizing and saying, you know, this is real. This does exist. Life exists beyond here in the physical world, and our loved ones are still with us, and there are people who have this ability to communicate. Part of the benefit of having this platform and through the show and what I do is kind of helping peel away some of the negative stigma associated to mediums and this work. Because a lot of people, they think of mediums, they think of some old lady, you know, with a turban and a crystal ball. It's like,
Yes.
That's not me. I'm just a normal 22-year-old girl who happens to talk to dead people. Like,
Right.
I think it helps them realize like that this isn't something that's freaky or weird. It's very normal.
Have you ever given a reading from a spirit that you knew in real life?
Yes. But for the most part, I cannot connect to my own loved ones the same way I can connect to everybody else, because they're too close to me. I'm too biased. If I was trying to connect to my grandfather or my grandmother, it would be very hard to differentiate, okay, well, what's coming through from spirit and what's my thoughts, because did I hear that because that's something I wanted to hear, or is that something I subconsciously already knew or remembered from years? So it's too hard. But there have been a few occasions where, like in high school, I had a classmate who had passed away, who then, you know, years later ended up coming through in a reading for somebody that I did, and I was like, oh my God, like, so it's kind of crazy when, yeah, I've stumbled upon in the spirit world people that I once met here in the physical world. Yeah.
Have you ever been able to, I don't know if this is the right word, but call upon someone that you knew, or ask for a specific spirit to come forward for someone that you've been giving a reading for?
I always say, it's not up to me who chooses to step forward and communicate. I don't really have that control. I mean, occasionally, sometimes it just takes them a little 1-800 call to heaven to like get them to show up. Because like, if they haven't already naturally come through, sometimes I'm just like, all right, let's see if we knock on their door, if they'll come through, and they usually do. But yeah, I've never. I don't like force it, and with my own loved ones, like I said, I can't communicate with them the same way, but I connect with them the same way I encourage everybody else to connect to their loved ones, through the signs and symbols, the hellos from heaven, songs on the radio, dreams, a dragonfly, rainbow, all those things. So I do feel connected in that sense with my own loved ones.
Got it. Have you ever had a spirit come to you and want you to convey a message to a pet that may have been theirs when they were still here?
That's so funny you asked that question, because everybody's question is always the opposite. Do you have pets coming through giving a message to their loved one here in the physical world? Not the other way around, where the loved one in spirit's like, give the message to the pet. That's awesome. Now that I think about it, it might not necessarily be like, tell the pet that I'm around, but I have had spirit come through and be like, I'm still hanging out with the dogs. Like, tell my wife that when the dogs are barking at what looks like to be nothing, it's me. Like, I'm still around them. I still love those dogs. Like, I'm with them in spirit. So yeah, they do acknowledge their pets still, even once they've crossed over, they'll give them a shout out, which is pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
If I came through a medium in spirit, I'd be like, yo, tell my dog Luna. I would do that. Be like, Luna needs to know mommy's okay, and so with her.
You finish every reading with almost like a catchphrase,
This is...
which I'm
I know what
sure
you're
was
gonna say.
accidental, and then
It
you
was
watched it back.
so accidental. This is like a controversial thing, because I have a very close medium friend and kind of a mentor. I call her my medium mama, Maureen Hancock, who's a medium in Boston. And she's the one who started Hugs from Heaven.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize that I started saying that. Like I watching back, I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Like I say, and I didn't ever want her to think I stole her phrase. It's just such a natural, like loving way to end a reading. Like, let me give you a hug from heaven or hugs from heaven. Like it's just a really sweet way to wrap it up, and just like it's a nice sentiment.
Yes.
But I didn't realize that I was doing it. And luckily, she's awesome. She's like, no, Monica, continue to use it, and like I don't mind at all. Like I love it. Like please do. But some of her longtime followers have like come after me, like, get your own phrase. Like, how could you steal that from? I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even do that on purpose. Oh, I can assure you, I will never come out with a book that's Hugs from Heaven. I can't. That's not mine. It's all Maureen Hancock's. I give her full credit.
So when you say Hugs from Heaven,
Yeah.
do you have an idea, like what do you think heaven is like?
Spirit has shown me kind of the bits and pieces. Oftentimes they'll show me their version of heaven, which is like a snapshot of like something they get to enjoy and do on the other side. So if your loved one was really big into riding motorcycles here in the physical world, they'll oftentimes show me like, tell my loved ones that I'm riding down the highway of heaven. Like I still get to enjoy certain, like the things that I did here up there. Like if they were a big fisher, I might see them on a dock, like fishing. So it's kind of cool. I can see a little bit of a glimpse into some of the things they get to do still. But also, they have shown me a little bit, like I call it heaven, you can call it the other side, the afterlife, whatever you would like. But they have shown me a little bit of the process of the transition and what that's like when the soul crosses over and being greeted by other or past loved ones and spirit guides once you two are there and going through the period of life review, they call it, where you watch back your life. And so I kind of see those things, and it's really cool, and they kind of communicate a little bit too about the roles that they have in heaven and some of the things that they do. But I don't have all the answers. I'm not God. I'm not I don't know everything. I won't know until I'm also there. So but yeah, I get little glimpses, which is kind of cool.
Is there any Hollywood depiction of heaven that you think is like closest to what you've seen?
That's a great question. I mean, it's not very close, but it kind of makes me laugh, kind of thinking of some of the similarities. You're gonna make fun of me. Remember that movie? I think it first aired on Disney Channel, but I'm not for sure. Remember the movie The Tooth Fairy with Kirstie Alley? Does anyone remember that?
Yes.
Where she's like stuck in limbo,
Yep.
and then
She's in a big poofy dress.
Yeah, she's in a
and
poofy
she's
dress.
Upset about it.
It's not like that. Obviously, it's not like the what was it? It was like the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny. They're all no, it's not like that. But it kind of, in a way, makes me laugh because you have your assigned role and you have kind of your guy. Like some aspects kind of, in a way, connect to what they've shown me. But overall, what I've seen in what they've shown me about the afterlife is it's not just this, it's not like some heaven and hell situation where if you made certain mistakes here in the physical world that you're going to be doomed in like the torches of hell, kind of the way that it's, sometimes it's depicted.
Yes.
And more so it's more about the almost like levels. So if you were some crap person, you did some terrible things, you're going to be at the lowest level on the other side. And this makes sense because if God is all loving and forgiving, then it completely makes sense to me. What they communicate is that they have that opportunity to grow and learn and make up for those mistakes. Some religions might call that sins, and kind of grow closer and closer through those levels and kind of get to that purest, best part of heaven and the other side. So, it's reassuring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Redemption even in the afterlife.
Yeah. I mean, with everything I do, I say it definitely has allowed me to no longer be afraid of death. Like I'm not trying to die, but I'm not afraid. I so can trust and know that there is this beautiful place that we go to, that our soul does live on after, we die, the soul lives on, and it's not just nothing. Like life exists beyond here in the physical world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the season finale, you're doing a huge reading at your college. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So, in tonight's season finale at 10 p.m. 9 Central on Freeform. Plug. You'll see me giving or doing my first event on a college campus. So for my peers, like I've done a lot of events. some with several hundreds of people. But for some reason, I was so nervous for this event because it was the first time like on a college campus with like people my age, my peers that I could run into on, in between classes, like knowing that I could see these people again and like they might judge me or not like me. I don't know. I was very nervous because of it being that setting. So you kind of see that, and that's kind of interesting to watch, is like me and the kind of panic and anxiety going into it. But without giving too much away, Spirit always shows up. Like it went pretty amazing. And in tonight's episode, you also see where things kind of are with the guy that I had been dating, going on dates. Tyler, who's, spoiler, is now my boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
But you don't see it end that way on the show because that was like filmed a while. So this happened after the season ended, where he asked me to be his girlfriend. But yeah, things are great. But you see that and some other fun stuff. But it's really good intertwining of like the personal stuff going on in my life, the mediumship, spirit, all of that in the finale. So I'm very excited.